Do I set out to write a masterpiece? I couldn't say that I do, but it's not very far from that. I know that I haven't written a masterpiece, so let's just get that out of the way. And I know that I probably am not capable of it, but I aim for it in the sense that I aim to write music that is meaningful and is the best I can possibly write and has some depth to it. The beginning of a piece can be very difficult or it can be very easy, but these days I find that beginnings of pieces are the result of a lot of thinking, whereas when I was a younger composer I would just sit down at the piano and with my manuscript book and my pencil and jam a bit and notes would come out and I would say, yes, they're good, and I'd go on and I'd get to the end and boom, it'd be finished. But these days a lot of my music is to do with stories, pictures, other art, in other words, and other music often. So I kind of slide into it through other ideas. It takes form and then the end you write. The end is sometimes hard to judge because it's very easy to get caught up in technicalities, trying to refine something so much that one reaches a point where the refinement is actually working backwards. And I think that's the point when I know, no, leave it alone and work with the musicians and maybe you'll get a bit more inspiration through then, and then it's done. The experience that I've had recently, which has been new over the last few years, is that I carry around a stack of manuscript books and I just jot down some very short ideas sometimes and then page after page of other ideas, cross bits out, and often I don't mean different ideas to come together at all. They're really not meant to be related, but I throw them together and that's it. It's a funny thing, the mind, sometimes. I think it works all the time. I mean, I think that your mind is working all the time on these things, even when you don't know it. It's an interesting process because you're asked to write music for a particular occasion, for a particular group, often, and those things are highly stimulating, I find. I think about the people who are playing the music that I'm writing, and sometimes I know the people. Quite often I know the people, but sometimes I don't. And in the series this year, a number of the groups I have not heard before. Some I've heard before, but I don't know. Some, like the Goldner Quartet, I've played with many, many, many times. So that's great writing. That's absolutely writing for friends. And then there's the situation where I've written an already performed piece, my piano trio, which was for my friends Wilma Smith and David Berlin, and that is now going to be played by the Eggner trio, whom I first heard at the Melbourne International Chamber Music Competition, and I was a jury member there. So there's so many of these sorts of connections. It's rarely that you just write a piece of music for a stranger for the money. It's hardly ever that.